It's Miss Sarah. I hope you guys are all doing well. Today we're going to work on an art project. So we're going to go out and find some things in nature, and we're going to use those things to make our own kinds of paint. One of my students actually came up with this idea for their science project, and we weren't quite able to do it before school closed, but she had a really good idea of using different colored roses to make different colors of paint, and then using some other things like spices or tea or things like that. But for today, we're going to focus on all things that we can find out in nature, and then we're going to try and turn them into paint, and we're going to do a painting using those. So what we'll do is we'll go outside and find some different things in nature that you think would make a cool kind of paint. So I already went and gathered my things. So after I talk about this for a little bit, I'll have you pause the video, and then you can go out there and look for some things that you can use to make your paint. Of course, finding things that are either in your own yard or not in someone else's like beautiful garden. You don't want to take anything out of there. But you'll find different things like different kinds of flowers. I found a bright yellow flower I'm going to try and make some yellow paint out of. I found some really pretty orange flowers, and then some purple, and then I grabbed some grass too, and some leaves. I also grabbed a clump of dirt, because I figured that might make some brown paint for us, and then some dried leaves. And then a couple other flowers and things, and these things that we always find, I forgot their name, but those things you always kind of see outside under the dandelions. And then I grabbed some of those too. And so we're going to use different methods to kind of crush those things up and try to turn them into a paste for painting. I actually haven't done it fully yet. I haven't crushed them up and turned them into paint because I kind of wanted it to be an experiment for us, for you to grab your different things, and then for me to have mine, and for us to crush them up and mix them with different things and see what works out well and what doesn't work out well. So I don't want to just have a whole bunch of things here that I know work out well, because that's an experiment for us if I already know what works. So I will actually now have you pause the video and then go out with mom or dad or somebody and go pick some things out from either your yard, or if you take a little walk down the street, grab some things. And they don't have to be exactly like what I grabbed. If you come up with another idea of something, I would love that. And then during our meeting, our virtual meeting, you can tell me about what you found and what did and didn't work. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and go grab those things, and then we'll come back. Okay, so hopefully you paused the video and you went and found your different supplies. So what we're going to do is there's two different ways that we can mix the ingredients. They were saying that hot water is good for things that have some liquid in them already, right? Like these flowers don't look like they have liquid in them, but if you break one of the leaves, you can kind of see, or sorry, one of the petals, you can kind of see that there's some liquid in there. And so the things like that we'll be mixing with some hot water. And then the things that don't have that, so like the leaves that are very dried out, or I'm assuming the dirt would be another one too, those kind of things we would mix just a little bit of honey into, actually. I'm kind of curious as to how that works, because I feel like we'd need something a little bit more watery. So I'll try some honey, and if it doesn't work, then I'll mix some hot water in it too. Okay, so I'm actually going to start with a bag, and I'm going to put the leaves in a bag, and I'm going to crush them up in the bag just to get them really, really fine and powdery. See if that works. And then I'm going to take the crumbly pieces, and I'm going to put them in one of these little plastic jars that are plastic dishes that I have, and I'm going to put some of the honey in with it and mix it around with a spoon and see if that works. And I'm not going to take everything out of it. I think I'm just going to take a little bit of the finest little petals. If you can see, there's some, or the finest little pieces. I'm going to take that and put it in there. Okay. can do that with yours too. If you grabbed any dry leaves. Okay, we'll see how that works. And now, okay, so it's all crushed up really fine in there. I'm going to take some honey and I'm going to pour it in there. They said a little bit and I did a lot, so we'll see if that works. You can see, just mixing it up. I'm not crazy about this one. I don't know that it came out correct. It's a lot of big clumps. So I think I'm going to save that one off to the side because I don't know if maybe the leaves were just too dry or maybe I was supposed to grab a different kind, but I think this will make some really cool texture on it, on the painting. So I might use that for one of those parts of it. Okay, so that one wasn't wonderful, but we'll try another. I'm going to try the yellow flower. You really like this one. I'm going to take off some of the petals in the middle and I'm going to drop them in the bowl. I'm kind of just breaking off the inside of it because I want as much color as possible. And I'm going to take some hot water and pour it over the top. And then I'm just going to use the back of my paintbrush and I'm just going to kind of crush it up. So this one's not giving us very much color, but there is, down at the bottom, there's some of that water, if you can see it, and it is starting to get kind of yellow. So I think this will be just a very, very light yellow. So I might use this for the rays of the sun, if I decide to do a sun on mine. Or just if I want a really faint yellow color in the back. So I'm going to put that to sit for a little bit before I pour it into, I'm going to try and just pour the color into one of these parts of my paint tray, more towards the end. Okay. So then the next thing I'll do is, since that brown didn't work for the leaves, I'm going to take a little bit of the dirt and break it up. I just put a little bit of dirt in the bottom, and then I'm going to take my hot water, pour a little bit in there. I'm not going to do much. I think that's been my issue. I've been a little too generous with the amounts of water or honey. Okay, so it's still pretty dry, so I think I'm ready to add a little more hot water. Okay, now it's starting to get a little more liquidy. I'm going to add a little bit more dirt. It's kind of right in between. It's a little bit too wet. There we go. So just mixing it up. I think this will be a good consistency. This one looks promising. Okay. That one's ready to pour in there. I'm going to pour a little bit in my paint tray. Okay, I'm going to put this one down here to get it out of my way. And I think I want to try the orange next, because that one seems neat. I'm going to grab a paper towel and clean off the back of my brush, so I don't make too much of a mess. I got dirt on my head. Okay. Okay, the next one will be the orange flower. I'm going to move the leaves down here too, because those are not the best. Okay, so now I'm going to take off the petals as well, just from the stem. And I think I'm going to rip it up a little bit. So I'm going to put this down here and I'm going to rip the flower and just put, because I liked that the color spread out a little bit better when I tore it. A little bit more hot water. I might reboil some water. It's starting to get warm rather than hot, and I assume it needs to be pretty hot. So again, I'm just going to mix it all up, crunch it, and then I have a spoon. I'm going to start squishing it with the spoon instead. I think that'll give me more force to kind of crunch the flowers. A little bit more water. Sorry, I'm getting over a head cold, so clearing my throat a lot. Okay. Starting to look good. You can see the orange liquid down at the bottom. Hopefully, there you go, yeah. There's some orange liquid, and I think the more flower petals we add, the more orange it will become. So I'm going to take flower and put it off again, and then I'm going to build up this. Okay. This is what kind of flowers or plants and I think we have. He wants to work on that already. So I was like, okay. I'm going to squeeze out. So I'm taking the spoon and I'm trying to squeeze out some of that juice with the spoon. So I'm holding back all the thick fibrous pieces of the flower. I'm just letting all the liquid kind of fall to the bottom. You can see the liquid there. And then I'm going to pour the liquid into the paint tray that already has the brown. And now I have my orange and my brown. I don't want to tip it too far because it'll spill. And now I'm going to move these two down to the bottom. And wipe off that spoon. Okay, now I want to try purple. So I'm going to take these little purple flowers that I found, and I'm going to take off those little petals. Just drop them into my dish. There's quite a few little ones on there. Okay, so that's what mine looks like so far, just those little pieces. I'm going to do a couple of those. I'm going to do 2 or 3. And then I'm also going to take another purple flower that I found, because they're similar shades of purple and I don't mind mixing them. When you do yours, if you want different shades of a color, maybe try doing them separately. Like I said, these flowers look pretty similar in color. Very pretty purple, my favorite color. I'm just going to dump them all in there. And same thing, I'm going to put some hot water. And I'm just going to try that and see how that works. Ooh, that is pretty. So there's some liquid at the bottom, if you can see that. It's very purple. So I think I just got a little impatient with the other ones, and I think maybe I didn't mix them long enough. So I would say mix yours for as long as you can to try and get the best color out of it. So I think the more that you crush it, the more the color comes out of the flower. Because now I have a really deep, dark purple that I really like. And I think I'm going to go ahead and squish some of the juice out of the fibrous part of the plant. I'm just going to pour it into my paint tray. But I'm going to leave a little bit of the texture in there. Okay. That one definitely has a different consistency too. The other ones were a little bit watery. That one has kind of more of a sticky texture to it. So that's kind of cool. Okay. I don't see my yellow. I didn't pour my yellow in there. Okay. So I'm going to mix it up a little bit more. squish out some of the liquidy yellow. Same thing with this one, with the yellow. It seems like that it has a stickier consistency. And I think I'll like that for the sunshine at the top, because you might be able to see it a little clearly, or a little more clearly. Okay. Last one is green. So instead of using all of the 3 green plants that I grabbed, I think I'm just going to try using some of the grass and seeing how that works. So I'm going to take one of these, and again, just split it up. Just break it apart. Sorry, you can't see that very well, huh? Okay. Just breaking off. I'm not doing very big pieces either. I'm making them really, oh, that one's kind of big. Really tiny. I'm just dropping them in there because that just makes it be less work for me when I'm crushing it up with the spoon. Okay. If you are filming as some more these I see that I'm going to slime projects for me or have that easy. But you have to do that. The grass starting to really green, you may see there. I am going to see. All that okay. Okay. Again, I think if you want darker colors, just keep squishing it. And maybe even, I would say that the more you use, so I didn't use very much grass in this because I'm not going to make a huge picture. I just wanted a little bit of each. I would say just start crushing it and add very little water at a time. And maybe even at the beginning, don't even add water if you want it really dark. The less water you add, the darker it should be. So just crush up the grass, see how much liquid you can get out of it just naturally, if you want to do it that way. And then if it doesn't produce enough, then go ahead and add some more liquid to it. So now my green color, you can kind of see it there, is getting a little better. So I'm going to strain this, squeeze some of that out, and then pour it in there. Okay. So that is what I'm going to use. This is my palette of colors. Can you see the yellow, the green, the brown, the orange, and the purple? And then I'm going to start my picture. So before starting the video, I was kind of thinking about what I might want to draw. And I knew I could get the color brown fairly easily. And so I was thinking maybe I'll do a couple mountains. You can take some time if you want to pause the video and you want to come up with your own idea of what to paint. You can paint absolutely anything. You can just do a big flower in the page if you want, or you can do mountains like I'm doing if you want, or just a big sun or a heart or anything. There's no specific thing that you have to do. I'm just going to do mountains because that's kind of what was on my mind to paint, and so I kind of want to try it and see if I can do it. So I'm going to start with just a couple little mountains. So here's the first one. And then I'm going to do one that's kind of hiding behind that one. They're more like hills, not mountains. And then one here. So as you can see, this one back here is a little bit lighter. I'm going to add more paint to my brush and go over this one more time. And then before I go over them too much, I'm going to let them dry, because as we know, when we put water on paper, it likes to soak through. And so if you're using a thin paper, I'd suggest to use a thicker paper. I'm using a slightly thicker paper, but if you can't, that should be fine too. Just be aware that it might start to go through the paper if you use it a little too much. I'm going to kind of color in my mountains. I might outline these mountains in a little bit of darker brown, especially these two, to make them look like they're in front of that one in back that I just colored in. Okay, now I'm going to wash off my brush. I have a little dish of cold water over here I'm using to wash off my brush, and then just my paper towel to wipe off the brush. And I think I'm going to try the sun. So I'm going to take my yellow that I made, and I'm just going to do a sun up in the top. So that's very light. I don't know if you can even see that. I'm going to bring you closer. So right up here is where the sun is. So now, since that wasn't quite as bright as I wanted, I'm going to try putting some orange over it, because the sun sometimes has a little bit of an orange tint, and I think that that will make it show up a little bit better. Yeah, okay. A little bit more yellow. Again, maybe if I had gone a little bit easier on the water when I was doing the yellow, that might have helped. Ooh, that's kind of cool. It's starting to kind of change color. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit more yellow. I've got to go with my rule of not adding too much at once. So I'm going to wipe it off. Where did my green go? Oh, this is green. The green looks almost like a brownish color, so maybe try and remember where you put which color. I'm going to put some grass or some green under my hills. And I'm just going to stop going down from there because I kind of want to just focus on this area. That sun is actually turning into a brighter color now that it had time to dry. So if you can see it there, there's the sun. I might add some rays. And then here's the green, which is kind of light colored, and then my mountains, which I'm going to try and outline again in a little bit more tan. I might bring you a little closer so you can see it as we go. And you don't have to watch this part. You can fast forward if you want. This is just kind of giving you an idea of what you can do and giving you some steps that you can follow if you want to. But by no means do you have to follow this exactly. Okay, so I'm just outlining this mountain, or hill. I keep changing their names. To me, they're supposed to be hills because they're rounded. Okay, and then this other hill back here is going to kind of stay a little bit lighter so that you can tell that these two are crossing in front of it. And I'm going to color this one in a little bit more, make it darker. I'm loving that brown color. Okay, so now I do want to try and do a river. And instead of blue, I'm just going to use purple. So I have the purple that we made out of that flower, out of those two flowers. And I'm going to start kind of in where this hill ends, and then this one's behind it. I'm going to kind of follow down where this one ends, and I'm going to just start here and kind of swirl and swirl back. But, oh goodness, okay, let's straighten that out. Okay, so I made my shape of my river, but if you notice, when something's far away from you, it's a lot smaller, and when something's closer to you, it gets bigger. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this part pretty small, the part that's going into the mountains, and I'm going to start out kind of wide here and just color in this part of the river. And I'm just going to follow it up, letting it get thinner and thinner as I go to the top. So now it kind of looks like it's starting up here, and it's making its way down and just getting thicker as it goes. I'm just going to have it end there because that's kind of where I want my river to end. Sorry. Okay, and so you can make it any shape that you want. It does not have to be swerved like that. It can be straight down if you want. Typically the rivers do kind of flow in a way like that, kind of. Or any other, of course, any other way that you want it to go, or across. But that's just the way that I wanted to do it. So I made it thicker at the bottom here, and then made it thinner as I went up, till it got to the mountains. And I kind of like the idea of it going kind of in between. So it doesn't have to look like it ends. It could be flowing between those hills back there. Okay, so now I'm going to start adding a little bit more to my sun up there. I'm going to dry off my brush, and I'm going to do some yellow rays. I'm going to do some orange in between too, because I like that. Okay. That, I think it ended because I took too long. Okay, so just little patches there is what I did for mine for color. I don't know if I want to add anything else to my river. I think I'll just do one more coat of the purple and just color it in a little bit. Perhaps my purple would have been a little bit better if I had not colored over green. Maybe that was what made it less purple and kind of more gray. Or maybe it's just the flour. Maybe it's the flour that I used. Just didn't give as much of a dark purple color. Okay. I think I did everything I wanted to do on that part. I think I want to just see what the leaves are like. The leaves are the ones, the only one that I had done that I used honey with, and so that's the one that looks kind of funny and it's all stuck in there. But I'm curious as to what it would do if I just put some on the ground. So I'm just going to paint some on here. Give it some texture. Not crazy about it. I'll bring you up closer so you can see it, but I'm just going to make it fair and do it on both sides. Just looks like there's maybe little rocks or things like that. Oh, goodness, this thing is not staying up. I'll push it a little bit. There we go. Okay, so I'll bring you closer so you can see. Actually, I'll just take this off. And you can see kind of the back got a little bit wet, so we can just be careful with what you're using. So there's my final picture. There in the bottom is where I had used the leaves. And so like maybe it looks like little rocks or things like that, but I don't know that I would do it again if I did it on mine. So there's the sun and the birds, the mountains, and the water. So I would love to hear about yours, or you guys can send me a picture of the one that you make. And if you're able to do this before our meeting, then we will talk about it during our meeting as well. Okay, see you guys.